Welcome to Timeball Games. I'm ELD, here to ask you for help in growing the channel. When we reach 2,500 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away a custom leather playmat to one lucky subscriber, so be sure to like and subscribe. Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Timeball Games in Bellingham, Mass. Here we have a SnOko mirror. So this one may not be the fastest one. You'll be glad that this is being run at double speed, as this match could be a very complicated series of decisions. Oh my gosh, never mind. That is not SnOko, that is a Gravecrawler. So this is actually going to be Hogaak versus SnOko. Pyle actually won the preceding event to this using SnOko, so switching it up after going undefeated the previous week, not often anticipated. A turn 1 Gravecrawler, not the most exciting start for SnOko. You really want to have a Hedron Crab or a Stitcher Supplier, preferably a Stitcher Supplier, as you do not risk the creature getting Sworged for 0 value. And now Careful Study. Hogaak, just a really exciting deck. There's a Bridge from Below in the graveyard, and SnOko actually is going to be kind of uniquely... they'll kind of struggle in terms of getting rid of the bridges. Here's an Elk, or an Oko. And he's actually not at his best in this matchup. So Adam can potentially make a 3-3, which can stop Gravecrawler. Kind of. Eventually, the Gravecrawler just comes back, and he brings more zombie buddies. Now we've got a Hedron Crab. Mills 3 gets another bridge. And as soon as we start seeing Cabal Therapies, this is going to be very bad. It's going to get out of hand super fast. And this graveyard ends up being the real risk as well. We've got a Cabal Therapy. The zombie tokens should be coming in before the card is named. Here we go. Adam hopefully didn't reveal anything there. It looks like a Swords to Plowshares being snagged. There's a Terminus along with a Brainstorm. So Pyle will hope to hit more discard, as this Brainstorm plus Terminus could be a real problem. There's also an Accumulated Knowledge in hand, so Adam could actually Terminus on Pyle's turn by brainstorming back the Terminus and then using Accumulated Knowledge. Assuming that he finds another mana source, it'd be a total of 4 mana. And Pyle going to pump the brakes. The Brainstorm play is underway. We'll see if Adam is aware of the fetch land interaction. That's one that is not obvious. So if you accumulated knowledge into a Terminus on your opponent's turn, you can put the trigger on the stack and then fetch in response. Hopefully he is aware of that. I'm not sure how much Miracles Adam has played. It is one of those lines that is not a given. Oko's going to Elk Hedron Crab. Another Crab. Ooh, and a counter spell here. And this could be a pretty significant misstep depending on what Pyle can do to leverage this situation. Vengevine coming in. Oko gets cleared. And this may play out okay here for Adam. Those creatures get tucked. Pile does have grave crawlers and also has the bridge from below's in the graveyard. It will not be very difficult to rebuild from here. Oh, Cabal Therapy, exactly what you're looking for. It's going to fetch again. And Blood Gas is going to work out great with this Cabal Therapy. Generate some bodies. Oh, he actually targets himself. And just going all out here. Hitting Oko down to 1. Gravecrawler coming in. Creating a ton more value. Another Terminus may be necessary for Adam to get out of this. He's got a Ponder. He's going to need to Ponder into like Brainstorm plus Terminus. There's a Swords, a Jason, a Force. I do not believe that is going to do. Going to have to shuffle and hope there's a cantrip into Terminus. Oh, he keeps. What am I missing here? Is this going to be too late? Mystic Sanctuary gets back the Terminus. But he's played a land. He bounces Vengevine. And now he's going to scoop. So yeah, that was... There may have been a line there. Let me know if you see one in the comments. With that Mystic Sanctuary in the mix, Terminus is a very, very real threat versus a deck... Or very real answer, not so much a threat. But it is a huge problem for any type of aggro deck. As we saw, though, it's not that difficult for Hogaak to rebuild if it's got the graveyard. So post-board, Terminus is going to go way up in value as cards like Leyline of the Void or Containment Priest, mostly Leyline of the Void, make Terminus so much stronger. Containment Priest at least has Flash, so you can get it out there in response to discard, but of course you'd want it to land after your Terminus, which is a fairly clunky thing, seeing as how, Terminus does remove all the creatures. Some slower cards being taken out here. Planeswalkers, unlikely to be able to really get the job done. Adam taking a look at Force of Will and considering going for the slower cards. Force of Negation and Vanilla Counterspell coming out. Of course, you can let us know in the sideboard how you would want to sideboard in this matchup. Definitely a surprise game 1. Usually when somebody wins a tournament, you kind of expect them to be playing the same deck that they had won with the last time you saw them. So Hogaak really kind of out of nowhere, causing some big problems here. Game 1 for SnOko. We'll see if Leyline ends up being enough. It's one of the few graveyard decks that can actually win without answering Leyline pretty easily. I mean, it's essentially just a bad aggro deck at that point. You're playing 1-mana Savannah Lions with Gravecrawler. I mean, that's historically not that terrible. You have Blood Gas as a 2-power with potential haste for 2. You also have Carrion Feeder. You have Vengevine. I mean, it might be the worst aggro deck, but it's still an aggro deck. I mean, you can still beat people even if they open up on Leyline, particularly if they mull to it. If your opponent mulls to 3, finds a leyline and not much else, I mean, you can absolutely get there. Vengevine for 4 mana just being hardcast really is a fine threat on its own. And just like that, in the opening 7, we've got a leyline. We're going to skip ahead and see how far Pile needs to mulligan. Not very far. He's actually keeping on 6, opening up on leyline and a basic island. Turn 1, Underground Sea into Carrion Feeder. Ooh, and a Terminus in hand is going to make that beatdown plan much more difficult. Not nearly as resilient to beat down with leyline. Milling Adam with the Hogaak, with the Hedron Crab. Mystic Sanctuary played for no value. And milling out Adam, not a realistic possibility. This is really more about just the fact that there's no real upside for exiling your key threats. We got Once Upon a Time. Finding another land. And getting in there for 1. No white mana so far, worth noting from Adam. And a Brainstorm finds the white mana and can potentially set up a Terminus. Got a Dryad Arbor coming in here, adding to the beats. Yeah, that Hedron Crab possibly... Oh, what a brutal turn of events there. So Adam actually had tucked that Terminus on top, and now Hedron Crab gets rid of it. Really wreaking havoc on the Miracles plan. For those of you wondering why Hedron Crab wasn't sacrificed just to get the extra damage off of Carrion Feeder, we just saw why. The ability to screw at the top of your opponent's deck happens to be very relevant when you're playing Miracles. Now a Terminus being put on top. If he lets Pile make a land drop, oh no, this is not going to work. AK, Pile sacrificing the Dryad Arbor. I'm a little surprised. I actually would have cracked the fetch land in response. And now we've got a Swords to Plowshares. So much milling being done. It is extraordinarily unlikely that Adam could get milled out of this game. However, the interaction with the top of the library, very important as we've seen, in keeping these threats alive. Altar of Dementia, usually just for comboing. Here, playing a little bit of defense as well. And now an Oko, and things may get a little less friendly now. That'd be hilarious if he doesn't have green. Wow. Wow, no green left. There's an Astrolabe. And now we're going to finally get an Oko. So no tropical islands left. That was almost a disaster for Adam. If he didn't have that astrolabe, that whole turn would have just been completely different. He does manage to land an Oko, however, and let's see what he does with it. He elks the Stitcher. No, he makes a food. Okay. Elking here kind of just makes it worse. We've got another Hedron grab. Boy, it does not seem likely for Adam to get milled out with Leyline in play. You're not able to loop Hogaaks and do the traditional combo kill, but I mean, this is certainly interesting. Anything could happen. This is game 2, so Pyle can afford to splash around here and take a wacky line, especially given that it's his only possible path to victory. He's either going to be milling out or doing the damage, so you just got to keep the ball rolling. These are some interactions that you rarely see in Legacy. A Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster looking to get a Swords to Plowshares. There's going to be one more mill that happens in response, and then just sacrificing him to make a bigger Carrion Feeder. And this Carrion Feeder is also a concern. If you elk that, it keeps the counters. There we go. There's an answer to the 1-drop. Jace may finally stabilize here. This has been a pretty ragtag It's not a lot of cards. I'm a little surprised Stitcher Supplier wasn't sacrificed to the Carrion Feeder first. Would have got... I guess it doesn't matter, right? Stitcher Supplier only mills you. Yeah, it only mills you, so there's no... Hopefully I didn't miss anything double checking on that. A Hogaak would be kind of hilarious. Milling 8 cards here would be pretty big, and it doesn't look like Adam has a counter for it. He ponders, sees Entreat. And Entreat can punch this game right out of there. As long as he's got the white mana. I only see 1 white on board. Draws off Ponder. Jace bouncing Stitcher Supplier. There's a mill in response. Damage incoming. And now we're on to the next game. That was a ridiculous game. I want to know how many cards he had left in his library there. Looked like maybe 7 or so. There was really not a lot left. We are on to game number 3. Pyle on the play. He'll need an answer to Leyline at some point. Most likely Force of Vigor, which can be very good taking out additional cards. There's, of course, the potential for Counterbalance or Arkham's Astrolabe along with the Leyline. And there's enough green cards in the deck thanks to Once Upon a Time. All right, so Adam looks like he's continuing to look for Leyline. It certainly carried the day there. There were a ton of cards put into the graveyard. They just happened to be his. And that is a hand that could be anything. He's just going to throw it back. Bunch of Brainstorms and Ponders. I guess one thing that can't be is a Leyline of the Void. Even if you brainstorm into it, you're not going to be able to get that card into play. It really has to be in the opener to have any impact on the game. And there he's finally got a Leyline with not a lot else. Is that a fetch land, I hope? Looks like he's able to keep Force, a land, and Leyline. Yeah, and a Ponder. All right. I mean, this is something. Gravecrawler into Astrolabe. 2 damage coming across. And we are back on just the absolute bizarre menagerie of creatures. Gravecrawler swings for 2 more. And now Force of Vigor. Pitching Vengevine, trying to take out Astrolabe and this Leyline. And he's going to brainstorm and whiff on the blue card. Fortune favors the bold, but this time it blew up in his face. He had to hit a blue card, at least one. And here is absolutely punished. That is during his upkeep. Draws a card for turn. Stitcher Supplier now, able to do its thing. And Altar of Dementia. And I'm actually surprised that thing stopped there. This is likely going to be just fine for Pile if he has the ability to get any type of creatures into play. Vengevine coming back, and Hogaak is likely next. So 4 damage coming in off of the Vengevine, and Hogaak makes this a must answer. He's going to have a Swords to Plowshares and a scoop there. Swords, of course, targeting the Hogaak. Essentially just forces you to sacrifice him to altar if it wasn't for that Pithing Needle. But they're just not enough. So even with the Pithing Needle, just not enough to stabilize there. Leyline had to stay in play for Adam to have any chance there. And Hogaak proves to be a difficult to play against deck. That is all for this one. But don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.